and welcome to the second of our virtual tastings. To start off with though, I know this has been a very, very difficult time, and for a lot of us, we've been very fortunate that there's a lot of people, and I just can't help thinking about just some of the crises that some of the people are going through. So our hope in doing some of these virtual tastings is that we can hopefully add a little bit of a light and a bit of levity, because all we seem to hear at the moment is about the virus on the news. So if you tuned in last week, it was a really fun session, and we talked about Sonoma-Cutrer, Sonoma Coast Chardonnay, and our Russian River Valley Pinot. Today, it's my real honour and privilege to introduce two of the members of my team, and coincidentally, I have an all-female team, so which is quite rare, I think, in a lot of businesses, but especially so in the wine business. So if you did tune in last week, being here today is just like being at home. I'm just doing as I'm told again from the ladies that work with me. So the first person I'd like to introduce, and I think she's hiding behind me there somewhere. Where are you, Z? There she is. No, yeah. Actually, you may think this is a little bit odd, but we are practicing non-virtual social distancing. That we're definitely keeping at least 6 feet apart from each other, as we have been doing here at the winery. I did neglect to mention as well, we're coming to you live from our pretty much abandoned tasting room here in Windsor in Northern California. We've been shut down for about 3.5 weeks in observance of the shelter in place that was put in very early here in Sonoma County and also in California. So back to Z, and don't be asking me what her last name is. I got no way of pronouncing it, but see, it's not that hard, is it?
You should have known that by now.
Well, you would think so. Us Australians aren't that smart. So Z is our Pinot Noir winemaker, and she does an absolutely spectacular job at what she does. Just in case you don't realise, she's really passionate about Pinot as well. So it's going to be a real thrill to have her tell us a little bit about herself and about the wines that she's making. And then the other member, the co-host for this afternoon, is Myra. And Myra also has an incredibly unique story. And so I don't want to take too much of the thunder away from her. But in the wine business, I don't know of another female that runs the entire production side of the business, which is looking after all of the cellar and all of the bottling, especially in a medium-sized winery such as we are here at Sonoma-Cutrer. So with no further ado, I hope you enjoy this afternoon's presentation of a couple of fantastic versions of our Pinot Noir. Take it away, Z.
Okay, 6 feet away, please, at all times. Oh, finally. Welcome to our tasting. My name is Zidanelia Arcidiacono. I think Mick, after 5 wonderful years of having me here with him, he can still not pronounce my name. But if you can't, everyone calls me Z, so I'm okay with that. I started here, as I said, 5 years ago, and I came to work with Pinot Noirs. Pinot Noirs, it's one of my favorite varieties to make and to drink, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. And again, since we are a very diverse team, I come from Argentina. I grew up in Argentina, but I'm 50% Argentinian and 50% Mexican. So yeah, there's a lot of culture around Sonoma-Cutrer. I fall in love with wine listening at other people also talking about wine and sharing their passion about winemaking. And I felt that was something that I wanted to have in my life as well. So I started thinking about studying winemaking. So I got my degree in Argentina. I got the chance to travel to France and also be inspired by so many rosés. And so we'll talk about that rosé later. So enough of me, and I want to present you my friend, Myra, and our production manager. So I want you to hear her story, how she came to work here at Sonoma-Cutrer. So Myra.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. It's definitely nice to be part of this live event. And thank you for everyone that's tuned in. It's already sending in their messages. I'll do my best to keep up. This definitely feels like my regular work where I'm trying to multitask,
Yeah.
responding messages and listening and chiming in. So I feel very comfortable with that. A little bit about myself. I'm Mayra Hernandez. I am 100% Venezuelan. I was born and raised in Venezuela, and I moved to Ohio out of all places to go to college. I'm a Buckeye. Woo-hoo, go Bucks. Ohio State University. I'm a chemical engineer, and 15 years later, I'm here in Sonoma County at Sonoma-Cutrer Vineyards. And I would have never imagined that my career path would have led me to the wine industry. Back then, it was something that wasn't on my radar, but my path took me from working at the glass manufacturing, and then I went to Jack Daniel's, which I very much love and has a very special place in my heart. And then I heard of this wonderful opportunity, and I've been here for close to 6 years this summer, and it's going to be my 7th harvest, so I'm definitely not a rookie anymore. I can say that. After how many harvests can you consider yourself not a rookie anymore? So now it gets easier. But anyway, it's definitely a pleasure to be working here in charge of the production operations. And what does that mean? I receive the grapes during harvest and all the process of crushing, pressing, racking, filling barrels, topping barrels after that, stirring, removing the wine out of the barrels, which is what we're doing right now, and the cellars underneath us, and prepping everything for bottling. And I have the enormous privilege to work with our winemakers. Zidanelia, we're very close with in the production of our Rosé. Pinot Noir has its own facility, which she is completely in charge of during harvest.
Our little barn.
Year. And also I get to work very closely with Kara Morrison, who's our Chardonnay winemaker, and she'll be doing the virtual tasting next week. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, April the 22nd. So next Wednesday, she's going to be doing an incredible tasting as well.
So I definitely get a lot of the guidance and collaboration with the winemaking team, and I truly enjoy it, and it's definitely a very passionate work environment. So that's a bit about me. Now let's learn about the wines.
Well, let's do it. So in case you're wondering why our hair it's blowing so nicely, it's not a fan. It's just we're in Sonoma County. We are very close by the airport area where our winery is located, and our windows actually are open. So there's a beautiful breeze. It's a beautiful day here in Sonoma County. So I hope you're enjoying your day, even if we are doing this social distancing. Let's make it fun. So my goal today is to present you these 2 wines. But even if you don't have these wines, I want you to enjoy a tasting. I want you to guide you through a tasting and what things are we feeling, what are we looking for, what are the smells in wine, beautiful perfumes, and how you get to actually know wine and enjoy, because enjoying wine should not be difficult. And that's why I love wine, and why I would love to reach out to you to grab a glass of wine. Can I pass this to Maya?
Thank you very much. I was getting thirsty back here.
And taste with us. So we're gonna start with our 2018 Rosé. As I said before, I had the fortune to go and enjoy French rosés in the Provence area, so in the south of France. I fall in love with that style. there's plenty of rosé styles. So we decided to actually produce a rosé that it was very light and lively in the palate. So it has that beautiful acidity, as well as beautiful perfumes. Something that I always liked to find in rosés, it's in harmony, right? A harmony that you look at your wine, you look at the color, and immediately when you look at your wine, you have an expectation, right? So this one has this light, pale, salmon, pink color, right? So it's I mentioned light, right? It's telling me it has a higher acidity. Now I smell the rosé. I smell, and what do you get, Myra?
I have to say, as soon as I put it up to my nose, I give it a little swirl, put it up to my nose, my mouth just instantly watered. It just went there, and I just picked up on that acidity and that citrus, you know, a little bit of citrus there. You know, you get a little bit of strawberry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get almost like a wild strawberry, right? So it's not that very intense, very those aromas. It's more of a citrus. It's more of that strawberry. Sometimes you can have some melon also. And this is very interesting because when we were to make this rosé, we actually, our style is we pick our grapes for rosé. So we pick much earlier to keep that acidity pretty high. We bring it to the winery. It's 100% Pinot Noir from our own vineyards. It comes here early, and about 50% of our fruit is going to go into what we call a direct to press. So there's no color extraction. This is made with a red grape. So the color is in the skin, right? So by macerating, keeping those skins in contact with the juice for the other 50%, that's how I achieve this beautiful rosé color, right? But it's going to keep that crispiness, that very delicate flavors that you get with a maceration style rosé. So when we make it, we ferment in stainless steel tanks. And it's funny because, as Myra mentioned, we have our Pinot Noir facility. It's a beautiful barn here in the property that it's less than half a mile from the Chardonnay facility. But I sent her the rosé to be fermented here in Chardonnay. So what it's really neat is I come every single day to taste the tanks, right? It's like I need to keep an eye on it. So I come every day, and once in a while, Myra's always checking for the rosé. She's always asking, how's the rosé doing? When is the rosé coming? How's the fermentation?
I'm gonna mention about the juice because, you know, you buy the bottle and you really don't get an idea of what did that juice taste like. And the juice is, I wish we could bottle it and sell it at the stores because it has just the most awesome flavors of guava. Like I love guava. Growing up in Venezuela, it was a fruit that was everywhere. So it definitely took me there. And you get a whole lot more other tropical fruits in that juice. And it's just perfectly sweet. So if you can share more about what brings those flavors into the juice, you know?
So flavors in wine, mainly the flavors that Myra is talking about is when fermentation, it's happening. So the yeast is transforming all the sugar into mainly alcohol, but also is developing some esters. Esters are aromas, and many of those aromas are the ones being developed during fermentation. So we get a lot of tamarind, tamarindo, guava. And by the way, if you want to ask any questions in Spanish, we're both bilingual. So you can also ask in Spanish. It's a beautiful process. Now, let's go to the next step. We're going to go and taste. Let's see if all what we found in our nose and all our expectations are met when we taste the wine. And don't be afraid of, just be cautious, of swirling your wine in the glass, as well as letting some air get in your mouth, because that's going to help to release a lot of flavors and some retronasal aromas as well. So it's going to give you a full impression of the wine in the palate. Now, you got to be careful of not having anyone in front of you. So if you're just practicing, do it home.
Yeah, don't try for the first time with a Pinot and a white tablecloth.
Yeah. That would be cute. But again, now this wine is entering your mouth, this is a dry rosé. So it has no sugar, only the residual sugar. So about 2.5 grams, that's considered dry. That means no sugar, as I said. But it's so fruity, it's so lively. The acidity, it's in a really good balance. So that's what keeps your mouth watering. I know if you're drinking some, your mouth should be watering. It's beautiful, crisp, and you can also get the citrusy notes as well in the palate. So that's when I say harmony, that's what I want to see. I want to see the color matching what I smell and also the impression that it gives in my mouth. So then we have a round wine. Rosé should be enjoyed every day of the year, but mainly it's during summer. And when we think summer, we think, okay, warm weather. So we want something that it's very refreshing. Temperatures of tasting. I always get this question for your rosés and white wines. So for rosé, I should say it's about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And to be really simple, you put your rosé in the fridge before you're going to be drinking it for, let's say, an hour or so. You pull it out of the fridge like half an hour later or an hour, and to the touch should be cold. And you always have to let your butt taste guide you. If it feels too cold, then it's too cold, right? So as simple as that. If you feel the wine, you can't smell anything, it's too cold. So that's how I guide myself with rosés, okay? So again, any questions about rosés? If you see anything, Myra?
I think you covered some of the rosé questions. I'm seeing a lot of anticipation about Pinot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and also the usual question, what's your favorite wine to make? I think it's a little early to answer that.
Yes, we'll save that Pinot for the end.
Yes,
we'll save that.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, since I like to cook as well, I brought some prompts here. So many times I get asked, what pairs well with rosé? There's so many options. I've even had this rosé in the Thanksgiving dinner, and it was beautiful. I think that cranberry, sometimes it really works with rosé as well. So you have that acidity and you have that fruitiness. So it balanced really well. But one of my favorite ones that actually I had with my family, I was in a family gathering and they brought aguachile. So if you know aguachile, it's pretty much shrimp. It's almost like a ceviche. So shrimp that it's been cooked in lemon and orange juice. And because I'm half Mexican, I really love spice. And so I had, but only 50%, so I'm mild. I had some, but usually I will have that with other beverages. I opened the fridge door, I have rosé, and it was calling me. So I opened the rosé and I tried it with this ceviche, and it was wonderful, wonderful. So I brought some here. You can see my prompts. So you can make things that are very simple, very fresh to go with your rosé. You can have it on its own. You can also have like some, and don't think I'm not sharing. It's just we're keeping the distance here.
Yeah, just working back here for, I'll work for rosé all day.
Yeah, so ceviche, shrimp. Again, going back to what Mick mentioned. So here you can see the citrus goes really well because we mentioned citrus in the rosé, as well as this light sweetness that you get from the shrimp. It also balances the taste of the rosé. Okay, so that is our rosé. But now, let's move to Pinot Noir, red version. I gotta tell you, this was a really fun, it was a really fun wine to make for me. And it really pushed me to try new things and to learn how to love new things. This is our 2018 Russian River Valley Pinot Noir that it's being aged for an extra 4 months in Woodford Reserve barrels. Let's see if you can see this beautiful label. And this is part of our winemaker release labels. So every year we get the chance to have fun and actually make something different. So we actually started, this was really fun. So if you have the chance to come by, if you were in sales or you came to visit during Cutrerization or any other event, and you happen to stop by the barn, we started with only 2 barrels that we got from Woodford Reserve. So, and we said, okay, we're just gonna do it for the tasting room. So we started tweaking things, and I kept those 2 barrels as a secret. It was over at Pinot, so only Mick and I knew that they were there. And I think some people that came by the barn, I actually was able to open the room where I had them, and I showed them, just, you know, to keep the suspense going. So when it got the time to bottle it, we bottle, and this is one of those wines that it just keeps getting better and better in bottle. Something that you got to know about Pinot Noir, it's a variety that every time you do something, you top those barrels, so you fill those barrels again, you move the wine, it's gonna react. It's a very sensitive variety. And one day you may be saying, oh, this is the best wine ever. And the next day it's like, what happened to my Pinot? That happens to me very often. And of course it happened with Woodford. So as I said, we aged for 4 months. And I think part of the success of this wine, it was that with time, we got to nail what we were looking for. We're always looking for balance. So as a Pinot Noir winemaker, I like the Pinot to shine, right? I wanted to show. So I think I was always doing a very unfair comparison. I was always comparing it to the Pinot without understanding that this wine, it's a new wine on its own. So by being in contact with those Woodford barrels and making sure that during the process, I mean, we were able to ask for barrels that were freshly dumped. So that's very important in the making of this wine. Barrels that are being toasted and after they're being charred. So very, very high quality barrels. Then we put our gem, our Pinot Noir, to be aged for 4 more months. So it's gonna start, okay, let's pour. Let's start pouring.
Please,
Let's start pouring. I can see your face.
Yeah, come on.
So it's gonna get a completely different dimension. You're gonna start getting some of the notes from Woodford Reserve, from those barrels that, as I said, they're being toasted and charred. So it goes more into the oak notes now. It loses some of the fruit, but still, because this one is so balanced and I'm very excited about it, it keeps those notes from the Pinot Noir. So imagine those berries, those black cherries, dancing along with some caramel, some vanilla. So
Again. Hey, I just had a thought. I had a bottle of Woodford Reserve Kentucky bourbon in my office. I thought it might be cool to taste it. With the,
yes. Thank you, Mick.
Mara will probably want one too.
So when I got to really understand this wine was when I started comparing it to Woodford Reserve. And actually, now I'm not trying to fight against the Pinot notes. I was trying to find some of this Woodford Reserve notes as well. So loving that beautiful warmth that you get from the Woodford, from the higher alcohol. You can get some of that with our Pinot Noir. You can get some of the spiciness, which is beautiful. And actually, those are notes that are very similar between our Russian River Valley Pinot Noir and the Woodford Reserve. You get some of that spice, those baking spices, some like baked bread, but like a sweet bread. So it's so pretty. And now that opens up, we go and we taste our wine.
You definitely get that sweetness.
Yes.
That you get on the nose when you put your nose to the Woodford Reserve.
Yes.
Get definitely that in the front.
Yeah.
When I taste it, as soon as the Pinot hits my tongue, I just get that.
Yes. And that's an important comment, sweetness. There's different ways to achieve that sweetness. In this Pinot Noir, it's just achieved because this one is the alcohol is gonna be a little higher. So for us, it was really important also to have the balance, so you don't perceive this as a very alcoholic wine. So everything is in balance. So what it's doing to this Pinot is just making it very round in the palate. It's giving you the impression of sweetness, but actually it's the alcohol that it's covering your mouth. So it's a very warm wine that I'm very excited about. It's beautiful. It has a lot of intensity. I think I'm so grateful that we get this beautiful fruit from our two ranches, Owsley and Vine Hill, that have the power and intensity to stand up to a bourbon barrel, because not everyone can do that. So I'm very happy. I'm not surprised. I truly believe in our wines, and I think sometimes you gotta give the wine a chance also to show you that it's different, that it's something new, that it's something very exciting. So I'm very happy about this wine. Very soon we're gonna start shipping. So hopefully everyone gets the chance to try it, enjoy it, and send us your comments and what you think.
Hey, see, Jenna Ponce wants to know, how do you consider the smoothness of this wine? Would you say that this has a low acidity, maybe in comparison to regular Pinot?
The acidity is the same. So the acidity is not gonna change by putting the wine in this wine. So what we may be perceiving is that sweetness. And by perceiving that sweetness, the acidity may be perceived as lower, but no, the acidity is exactly the same for this Pinot and our other Pinots, which is, if you understand a little bit of chemistry, the pH will be around 3.5 or so. So pretty normal.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And see, you talked about it with a Rosé, about what's the ideal temperature to drink the wine. Jacqueline Silveira wants to know, do you recommend it drinking it chilled or room temp? What is your recommendation there?
You know, everyone says room temperature. I was born in Texas, but raised in Argentina. So room temperature in summer in Texas is not the same as any other places. So I think it's better just to say that red wines, and Pinot Noir being on the lighter side of Pinot Noir, of red varieties, it should be in the 60 degrees, 65. So that means that when you see someone, even when I'm tasting my Pinots or drinking my Pinots, I will put the bottle, if it's summer, I will place it in the fridge for a few minutes before I drink it. I think it drinks nicer. I think the acidity, it's perceived a little higher, so it's more refreshing in the palate. So yeah, but not too cold, because if it's too cold, then the it will be, you won't get so much of the aroma. It won't be as open, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Another question, Brian D wants to know, what are some food pairing suggestions that might be especially tied up into the nuances of the Woodford influence? Wow,
And I did not ask anyone to ask that question, so thank you, Brian. But here we go. So I brought here something that is very simple to do that you can share with friends. In Argentina, with my friends, we always like to start our dinners or anything with a little picada. So you can put anything you want here, but this is just a cheese board with some dried, we have some apricots, some dates, we have some fig jam, we have a brie cheese. So brie goes really, really well with Pinot as well as Woodford Reserve. So now we're trying to match those flavors. So yeah, and some like toasted nuts. You can also make some reduction. It's really nice to actually include your wines or your bourbon while you're cooking something. Just don't use too much. It's nice to do a reduction or something with that. Again, this, now that it's being aged in Woodford Reserve barrels, could stand up to a little heavier meal as well. So if you're thinking something, maybe you're thinking, well, the Pinot is too light, although our Pinots are pretty intense, this will be a really good option. So yeah.
Okay. Now that we've covered both wines, let's get to the really good questions.
Yes.
Jason Sieber wants to know, what's your favorite wine to drink and to make?
Ooh.
Different questions.
Yeah, 2 different questions. I enjoy very different wines. So probably there's not, if it's well made and it's being well stored, I like every wine, every variety. I truly enjoy other varieties. I do love Rieslings. I love Sauvignon Blancs. I used to truly love Cabernet, and I thought I don't know what I'm gonna do without my cabs when I came to work here, since we only produce Pinot Noir. My mom, hi mom, she's a fan of cabs too, so she was a little, she was not taking it well. But I had the fortune to actually present her with our Pinot Noirs here at Sonoma-Cutrer, and she fell in love. And now she's a fan of Pinot Noirs. So the wines that I enjoy to make, I think I've worked with so many varieties, and probably the ones that I struggle the most are the ones that I like the most as well. So that's why you have me here working with Pinot. And hopefully I'm making a good job.
Okay. All right, let's ask Trevor Gosha, and please pardon me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Trevor, hi. Why did you all decide to make a rosé with all the great varietals in California? There is a lot of competition with varietals, so
Yes.
Why did you choose to make a rosé?
Well, we do grow our Pinot Noir. So the rosé comes from 100%, just bring the bottle here. Our rosé comes 100% from our vineyards, and it's 100% Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, it's a great variety. I enjoy other rosés made out of other red varieties. You can use so many. Now, to have the style that we wanted, to be able to pick, we were able to select the blocks that have the right yield to make the style of rosé that we wanted. We were able to pick when we truly felt the grapes were ready for our rosé. So this is not a Sanier style when you pick for red and then you remove some of that juice to make your rosé. This was 100% picked for rosé. So Pinot Noir is high quality. we already have it in our ranches. So it was a clear decision for us to just transform some of our blocks into rosé blocks, so they will carry more yield and just make a wonderful rosé, the style we wanted to make.
Our friend Joe Timbarello, he tuned in last week to see the live stream of Mick and Linda.
So he's a fan now.
He's a fan. Thank you, Joe. He wants to know, how would you compare this to last week's Pinot?
Well. So last week Pinot, it will be, I think it was a 2017, so a year older. This is completely different. As I mentioned before, this Woodford reserved aged Russian River Valley Pinot Noir gained its own personality. Our Russian River Valley Pinot, it has a beautiful intensity, so I will say medium intensity. It's very spicy. It has lots of red berry fruits. It's really beautiful and open. It really truly shines and shows what Russian River Valley is in regards of Pinot Noir. It's beautiful. This one is beautiful too, but now we're gonna have more oak impact. We're gonna have a wine that it's perceived as more robust in your palate. It's a heavier wine, heavier style. So I think even by comparing which one I will pair with food differently, they are completely different. So I invite you to try them both. If you get the chance, hopefully when all this passes, you can come and visit us here at the tasting room, or you can order the wines. We're doing free shipping on $99. So that's another option right now that we're going through this times. So yeah.
Hang on, I was drinking on the job.
Myra, come on.
I can do this. That's fantastic. I have a question from Kathy Cisna. She says she's getting some little brown butter flavor from tasting the Woodford the Pinot.
Kathy, thank you for giving me notes.
Yes.
I love when I get those notes. Actually, for anybody who's tasting the wine, they help me a lot. Yes, you get that brown sugar, like almost when you're you have sugar in your pan and you put some butter and you're melting it, and it's that caramel forming. You get some of that. So yeah, I think we gained a lot of that. It's coming from the Woodford, that toastiness, those buttery characters as well that you won't see if you taste our Russian River Valley Pinot without the aging in Woodford Reserve barrels. So thank you.
Okay. And then Jason Seaver wants to know, is a Woodford Reserve barrel finished Pinot a limited one-time project, or will you do one each year?
Well, for now, it is a limited edition, I will say. So it's part of our Winemaker Select. So we produce a very small amount of cases of this one. So this one will get a little more distribution. But if you enjoy it, order now, have it, age it. It will age really well. Drink it now because it also drinks really well now. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll continue doing it. At the moment, it's just a one-time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Lawrence Luke wants to know, what's the differences between the two vineyards for the Rosé and for the Pinot?
Yes. So we have our two vineyards. Both of them are in the Russian River Valley area. Vine Hill or on Vine Hill Road, and Owsley on Saunders Road in Sebastopol. They are completely different, and I invite you to taste also our wines made out of those single vineyards. They will truly show you what the differences are. So for this one, we do it's about 50-50. Maybe it's a little higher in the Owsley percentage. But we select, as I said, the blocks from each one of them. We also make a very small production of sparkling, and the blocks that we use out of Owsley are in the same area because the grapes that we picked from there are larger berries. As I said, we leave a little more fruit in those plants so they won't be as concentrated, because that's not what you're looking for in fruit when you're making rosé or sparkling. So the difference between those two, I think they're better described when you produce them as red. So Vine Hill, it ripens earlier, so it doesn't get a lot of the influence from the ocean. It does get some, but not so much. So it's a little warmer. We get fruit that it's very, very intense in the fruit notes. It has a lot of blueberry. It has a beautiful structure, very dense wines, very important, very much what I like to say, in your face Pinot Noir. Now the Owsley ripens a little later. So we will have like a 2-week window between one vineyard and the other one. It gets more influence from the ocean, so cooler temperatures. Owsley, it's more mysterious. Owsley, it's a wine that you pour and you smell, and 10 minutes later you come back, you smell again, and it's just giving you little by little different notes. It has some herbs, it has some earthy notes. It also has some cherry notes that are very beautiful. In the palate, it's so balanced and so soft and smooth. So I love both, but they're completely different.
Good. Brandon wants to know, well, he is saying the Woodford Reserve finish is amazing, and he wants to know if we're currently working on anything else special or new in the Pinot Bar.
We're always working on something special and new. So every year we do try to do something different. We look for new techniques, things to do differently. So we'll acquire different vessels, different styles of barrels. We will do different types of fermentation, as we had in other previous wines. We do the submerged cap with Pinot, which is not very common with Pinot. So I like to really try and push the variety just to see what we can get. Of course, everything, it's done in moderation at the beginning. And we taste with Mick and Kara very often, so then we can decide if something that we're doing we really like, we really enjoy, we feel we have something special, and that's when we decide if we want to release it, if we want to continue doing something and actually include it in our way of making Pinot. So we're always working on something. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. And Tracy wants to know a little bit about the differences between the Pinot Noir winemaking process. How is it different from Chardonnay?
Ooh, it's very different.
Fill in the Chardonnay side for sure.
It's very, very different. With Pinot Noir, and let's talk about any red variety. So the color, as I said, the color, it's on the skins of the grapes. So if you open a berry, you'll see that the skin is the one that has the color, and it's clear. The pulp is clear, right? So with a red variety, you could make white wine, right? You could make rosé just by keeping it in contact for just a little amount of time. Now, if you want to make it red, you want the whole fermentation to be in contact with the skins. The skins are the ones that have the beauty in red. Not for white, but yes, for red. So in the skins, we have many of the structure, the tannins that we talk about, also the color, and some aromas. So when the grapes come to the Pinot Noir facility, we will destem, so remove the rachis and just remove all the berries, trying to keep those berries as intact as possible. We fill our tanks, so we work with Pinot Noir. For Pinot Noir, we work with open top fermenters. So there's no pressing involved, right? We want all those skins in contact with the juice. If you're making Chardonnay, you don't want any of those skins. So for a white variety like Chardonnay, the skin, it has no color, right? You can see that it's yellowish, but really it has no colors, no anthocyanins. So what you want to do is press right away. You want to press it. So that's like the biggest difference is the pressing and staying in contact with the skins versus not being in contact with the skins, right? And then the process will continue. So we ferment with skins for red, and with whites, you don't ferment with skins. There's no more. So yeah, that's the big difference. And I can go deep into that question. Maybe we'll do something in the future, and I can talk a little bit more about fermentation. This is a big subject that cannot be answered in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Not enough time.
Now,
Lorenzo Lucas wants to know if we will be using the Woodford barrels with more than one fill.
no, we send them back already. But great idea. So we try with wines to keep barrels full all the time. Because if you don't keep them full, then they will dry out and they'll start leaking, right? So we feel that for wine, it will be too much if we keep the wine in those barrels for too long, right? It will be too much, too overpowering. So we felt that with the time we're giving, those 4 months, it's enough to get a very balanced wine with a good impression of Woodford Reserve. So in order to use them twice, we need to keep them filled. So I don't know what we could do there. So my answer will be no at the moment.
I have to say that we're finally gonna close on the questions.
We're gonna wrap it up.
We're gonna close up with a really good one from Jenna Punks. She's asking, what happens when you don't like the wine after it has been aged?
It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. So as anything you do, you don't want to get to that point. And I believe that you need to, from the winemaking standpoint, since you start picking those grapes, you got to make sure you only have one chance, make the right decision. Throughout your fermentation process, do it diligent. Do it smart. Ask. We have so many resources now that we can ask for guidance in how to do it. If you have a problem, how to improve it, how to fix it. Fix anything as soon as you can. And that's why we're here. We are the keepers of those grapes. All the work that was put into growing those grapes, we cannot ruin it. So we need to stay on the task, taste often. So when you see us tasting every single month, samples and samples and samples, and tasting all the fermenters is trying to catch anything that wants to go wrong before it happens. So you don't get to the point when your wine is to be ready to be bottled and you did not get what you expected. So that's, don't try not to get there. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you so much. If you could turn around, you could see my boss, Mick.
No, I'll come back in there.
So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us during this tasting. I hope you are all staying safe. I wish you the best. I hope I was able to get to your house and you being able to distract yourself for a little while and enjoy the wines, any wine that you have. Again, wine should be fun and fun to taste and to keep trying. So if you have any more questions, please continue to ask and we'll try to answer in a later, hopefully, chat. And remember that we're going to have another virtual tasting on the 22nd. So it'll be Kara. Kara is going to be guiding you through a wonderful Chardonnay tasting. And I know Mick wants to comment on. So
I want to say thank you to everyone for all your questions. Such great questions. We couldn't get to all of them, unfortunately, because the time, that we had allotted. But thank you, everyone, for participating. What a great audience.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing, ladies. So everybody out there, big round of applause. Actually, I can hear it coming in. That really was amazing, Z and Myra. So thank you so much for that. And it really was bright, entertaining, lighthearted. I live this every day and I loved it. So I hope all you guys did out there as well. Just remember, next week with Cara, she's going to be tasting the Cutrer, which is our single vineyard Chardonnay from here at the estate, where the winery is in the heart of Russian River Valley. And then she'll also be tasting the iconic Les Pierres Chardonnay, which is just our estate vineyard outside the town of Sonoma. So remember, we've got a great deal on the 6-pack, the 2 wines that I tasted last week, these 2 wines, and then next week's. And then up until April 24, as Z had mentioned, we have free shipping on orders over $99. So really great deal. And just remember, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we will see you again 3 o'clock Pacific time, this time next week. So stay safe, everybody. And remember, a lot of the restaurants are really hurting across the country everywhere. We're actually having dinner from a fantastic restaurant in Healdsburg, Valette, on Friday night. So please go out and help support the industry and try and order in kind of dinner one night. And I get a feeling there's probably some great wines you can order to go with that. So cheers, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
bye.
Bye.
That's great.